added too many parts to himself. Something were. You ready? I'm going to say it carefully, okay? If something were, the fact that indirect perceptions are perceivable, would it exist? Yeah, it would have. Yeah, it would. Sky is blue. Okay, is a fish. The sky is blue. Is a fish. The sky is blue. Well, the sky is blue exists.
Okay, so fish is.
So the sky is blue, is that a synonym for existence?
Yeah. It's truth. It's truth. Fish are true.
The fish are thoughtful.
That's another story. No, well.
It's not saying someone who is able to see the fact that someone is considering a rabbit's horns?
No.
It's not.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah.
Is it possible with the distinction that he left on Tema, the reason there?
Exact. Well, it's this apostrophe I here.
Yeah.
This is the tricky one. Okay.
So it's not, it doesn't have to.
Are there objects which you can perceive with logic?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some objects are perceivable by logic.
Yes.
Sure.
Objects are perceivable by logic. Yes or no?
Yes.
Objects,
all objects.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
Is a fish? Objects are perceivable by logic.
No. The fish as we talked about. Objects are perceived by logic.
But objects are perceivable by logic is a synonym for exist.
Oh, I see.
I mean,
Really?
Yeah.
wow.
It's a general truth. It's existence. I'll say it again. Objects are perceivable by logic is equal to yupa. Okay? So now, can we say that rabbit antlers are objects are perceivable by logic? We still can't say it. We still can't say it. They don't exist. Okay, got it?
And the reason
Can Numkin perceive that objects are perceivable by logic? Can Buddha's mind perceive that objects are perceivable by logic? Yeah, what they're trying to do here, I mean, it's not just useless talk. It's not just academic BS. It's not that. It's what's the status of reality. What's the status of reality? In this school, you know, the sky is blue exists or not?
Yeah.
The sky is blue, does it exist or not? Is it changing or unchanging? Unchanging, yeah. It's reality itself. It's equal to exist. In this school, okay? Cool. Facts in this second school of Buddhism are equal to reality. Okay? That's what they're trying to teach us, okay?
So anything that exists is the sky is blue.
in this case, it's
Say again?
Anything that exists is the sky is blue.
Exactly, yeah.
Because if the sky is blue equals to truth.
Exist, yeah, exactly. Let's keep going.
Sees everything that is.
Nah, because then he gets into Gazaki Dagmeba. He skips the Numkin. He drops the Numkin thing.
That's why I said. That's why I think that.
Let's keep.
There's helpless even things that don't exist.
That's true too. Yeah. Let's keep going. Madhubna, if you disagree that the fact that someone can figure out things logically exists is an existing thing, okay? Then let's take the rabbits of a horn. Jebak namkin kishajayin bata. Seeing things with logic is to something that a Buddha can perceive, okay? Because it exists. Seeing things with logic exists. Therefore, it's a thing that a Buddha can perceive. You okay with that?
so would you just translate J-Pak here as
Jepak Sema Yabecha.
well, it doesn't say J-Pak Tema in the reason.
Same thing. I mean, he set it up above somewhere. Here, Jepak Sema.
Because it's a Namkin.
Okay, yeah. Jepak Yabecha. Here's the punchline. Madhubna, if you disagree that indirect perception exists, let's take rabbit antlers. Jepak Yabata.
It's a thing perceived.
Indirect perception does too exist.
Oh,
because
People are selfless.
because J-Pak, seeing things indirectly does exist, because seeing things indirectly, it's true about seeing things that directly that Nick is not Nick.
No, it's
True
got
about
to be the reason has to apply to the chicken.
Yeah,
Doesn't solve
it's
Not the
true.
chicken, the chicken's real.
It's true about indirect perception that Nick is not Nick.
No, but
Well, that is true.
Yeah,
he
right.
has to be talking about a human God.
Huh?
Konsaki Dogme is the thought that has to apply to the chichen, which is the rabbit horns.
yeah.
That's the first of the three relationships. That's okay.
You're saying if things are,
Is it true about rabbit horns that Nick is not Nick?
is it true that if
Yeah.
Is it true about rabbit horns that Nick is not Nick? Say yume kanruyina, kangruyina, kansaki dagme. Whether something exists or not, it's true of it that Nick is not Nick.
Yeah, because
Okay, that's a famous statement. Okay, and yume kanruyina ta imbekyap.
then things must have a sense.
It's a reason. Anything can serve as a reason, even if it doesn't exist. Okay. My wife's logic is bad because it's equal to sky flowers.
doesn't
Okay. All right. The point is, yume kanruyina, whether something exists or not, you can say about it that Nick is not Nick.
And then because Nick is not Nick, then J-Pox exists.
Yeah, that's easy. Yeah. If Nick is not Nick, then indirect perception does exist. That's the kyaba. That's the J-kyab. You want to do the do-kyab? If indirect perception didn't exist, Nick would have to be Nick. Okay. Okay. All right. And again, these are something doesn't have to exist. Non-existent things also have no self-nature. How's that?
It's also problematic in its own way.
Yeah, non-existent things also have no self-nature, because if they had a self-nature, they would exist.
Exists.
Okay, here we go. So, by the way, what are they playing with? They're playing with the idea of facts. And facts are true of everything, whether it exists or not. The sky is blue for rabbit horns, and the sky is blue for my veggie burger. Okay, equal. Okay, certain things are true of everything. The fact that Nick is not Nick from Nick's own side is true of the veggie burger, and the fact that Nick is not Nick from Nick's own side is also true of the horns of a rabbit. Okay, cool. Okay, let's go on. Maybe it'll get more clear. Okay, Mr. Adam.
가치나래 몸배 던치 처진 본신 본진 토페 송월타 송월타
Suatao.
본진 토페 송요 예배치
Okay. Somebody give me an explanation of the difference between Dunchi and Dachi. Since I'm going to Paris after this term.
The fact that you heard about the Eiffel Towers.
Wait, say it slow. What's a Dachi? What's a Dunchi?
So Drachi literally means like sound class or something.
Sound archetype.
Yeah, archetype. And so someone tells you, oh, you're going to Paris? Oh, the Eiffel Tower is big and blue. And so then you have an image of the Eiffel Tower in your head.
That comes from someone's words. I didn't go there myself. Okay.
see a picture or TV.
It doesn't count. Yeah. It's called a word general. Yeah. And then what's a Dunchi?
And then Dunchi is when you're in Paris with be enjoying yourself under the Eiffel Tower. You look up at it, and then you have.
And then you go home.
And then you go home, and then someone says, "How was Paris?" You said the Eiffel Tower is beautiful.
Yeah, and that archetype in your mind is based on an actual experience that you had. actual experience, okay? So in this argument, we're talking about the denchi, the actual experience of a water pitcher, okay? Water pitcher. Let's take a water pitcher. The archetype in your mind, okay, of a water pitcher, based on something you've already experienced, okay? Are you telling me it is held on to by bumzin topa without the S? The idea of a water pitcher. So you're thinking of the idea of a water pitcher. I say, what's a water pitcher do? And then Jenny closes her eyes and say, oh, what's a glass do? And then Jenny closes her eyes and say, glasses hold water, okay? So in that case, you're having a picture in your mind that comes from actually having seen a cup before. You saw a cup before, a glass before. So here, an idea of the glass is holding to the mental picture of the glass, okay, right? Is it possible? Why? Because that glass is what is held by the idea of a glass. A glass which is what the idea of a glass is holding, okay? And what is held by the idea of a glass. Is it different? I'll say it again. The object which is held by the idea of a glass, okay? And the glass held by the idea of a glass. Is it the same?
I don't think so. This is like, are you seeing the pot on the stove?
Yeah, we say no. We say makya. Just because something is the thing that the idea of a glass holds doesn't prove it's held by the idea of a glass. I'll say it again. Just because something is the thing which is held by the idea of a glass doesn't necessarily mean it's being held by the idea of a glass. And it would seem wrong, okay? But
It's a Sarah, yeah.
well, the makyap is us. The makyap has to be us, which is to say, I'll repeat it again. Just because something is what you're holding with the idea of a glass doesn't mean it's held by the idea of a glass.
So actually,
But if a topa was holding the pot on the stove, it's still a topa. It's wrong. You're not seeing the pot on the stove, so it can't be the actual object. It's not a symbol. It's not the actual article. It's an idea. You're wrong. It's topa.
Well, he did start out by saying the archetype, the mental archetype, not the pot on the stove.
But the archetype isn't. It's not a symbol.
Why are we talking about this, by the way? Downstairs, we just had a talk about what? How you take the body of humanity. You know, do you have an image of it or not? Do you see it as a single body? And it's artificial. But the body of me, arms, Michael, is also artificial. So it's an important question. It's not just some logic bullshit. Okay? It has actual applications. Is it possible to think of humanity as a single body and the arms have to take care of the legs? Okay? And that's that's the question they're asking here. So Denchi, let's take an actual archetype of a glass in your mind, okay? It must be held by the idea of a glass because it's what the idea of a glass holds. And we say not necessarily the case. Something can be the object which is held by the idea of a glass and not be held by an idea of a glass.
Shouldn't theoretically the yule of that object would be the bomba, not the bomba denchi? One is tapa,
But
one is tapa.
he starts the argument by saying, listen, I'm not talking about water pitch. I'm not talking about glasses. I'm talking about your idea of a glass after you've seen a glass and you're not looking at the glass anymore. I want to talk about that idea. Is it an object held by the idea of a glass?
Yes.
Yeah. Is it held by the idea of a glass? And we say no. So apparently there's a difference between being the object which is held by an idea of a glass and being held by an idea of a glass.
It is the Bumbe, isn't it?
Say again?
It is the Bumbe, so why would be...
What's the Bumbe Topa?
The denchi.
No. That's Topa is a state of mind. Denchi is an object of state of mind.
Topa
Denchi doesn't perceive things.
I think Dopa in this school is Dharma.
No, maybe, but I doubt it. It's a state of mind. It's a perceiver. It perceives. Pictures of glasses in your mind don't perceive things. See what I mean? Anyway, let's go on. Maybe it will become more clear, but probably it will become less clear. Okay. Mandubna, if you don't agree that the picture of a glass you've experienced in the past in your mind is what your idea of a glass is holding on to, if you disagree, let's take your picture of a glass in your mind. Archetype of a picture of a glass in your mind, which you have seen before directly. Let's take that picture. Yes, it is too the object which you hold on to when you think of a glass, because it's the nangyo. Nangyo means what's appearing to you, okay? It's what's appearing to you when you think of a glass. The archetype of a glass, when you close your eyes and think of a glass, is the object appearing to your mind as the glass. We call it appearance object, okay? Therefore, it is an object. It's one kind of object, okay? There are different objects in an act of perception, okay? When I look at the cup of tea, there's a shenyu, okay? Say shenyu. What I think is there, which is a cup that was made in a factory. So that, when you say shenyu, it's wrong. The feeling object is wrong, okay? I feel like it was made in a factory. I don't feel like it's coming from me at this moment because I shared coffee with other people in the past, okay? Say again? Gakcha? Well, it is a gakcha, yeah, but it means the cup I feel is there. So that's one kind of yul, object. Then there's the nangwei yul, the cup which is appearing to me, that exists. There's a cup coming this way, looking at me, okay? There's a cup that appears, that exists. Shenyo doesn't exist. The one I feel is there, it doesn't exist. Then there's a Zendangi yul, there's a Mikbei yul. Is there an object that I'm focusing on? Yes. So there are many, many kinds of objects in Buddhism, and some exist and some don't exist, okay? The object as I feel about it is non-existent, okay? The object as it appears to me is there, okay, got it? He's talking here about the object as it appears to you, okay? It exists, okay, that exists, all right? Something's appearing to me, okay? Z-H-E-N, like Shemba Shidra, okay? Now, Konda Duna, what's Kon, oh, you want to read? Topa. Konda Duna means if you agree to bug, we gotta go find a towel. Okay, and I guess it's this one. Are you telling me that the archetype of a glass is what you're holding on to when you think of a glass? And we say, yeah, it is. Then we say, let's take the example of when you're thinking of a glass. No, it doesn't hold to the archetype of the glass because it holds to the glass. Okay, it's not holding to a picture of the glass, archetype of the glass, it's holding to the glass, okay? Now, I suggest we go on. We reached a new subject, which is rare in Adam's text. It happens about once, twice a year. So we've reached a new subject, and this is Chichedat. Okay, this is the one that if you really understand it, you can see emptiness directly. So this is the one, this is the most important part of this book in the next 10 years. You were here on the day he started it. I don't know if you'll be here on the day he finished it. But so this is probably the most important subject of all of his book. You know, what does it mean to have a picture of a car and to have a real car, and what's the difference? Okay, are you ever looking at a real car? Okay, and that discussion, which is important in the highest interpretations of emptiness, starts in the second school. And we're there. You were there. Okay, say chicheda. Yeah. And this is very valuable because we're going to go through all the meanings of chi and chedak, okay? And let's just do it, okay? And it's my opinion that this is the most powerful thing you can do to see emptiness directly. The most powerful subject you can study. So if you're here, stick around till we finish, okay? And eat your hamburger before we start. Okay, here we go. Please read 977. Which means?
Here's where we begin our presentation of quality and characteristics.
Yeah, good. Quality and characteristics. Okay. Now, classic 3 parts of this discussion are going to be? Which in translation is?
It's where the other side, the other system essentially presents wrong ideas that we refute. Then we present our own view of a certain subject. And we come back and further clear away anything else they have to say.
Yeah, good. So this is Buddhist, as I said, pedagogical system. This is how Buddhists teach things. This is how Buddhists teach things. We don't write a book called textbook and tell you what's right. First, you get to hear other people come up and say things that are slightly wrong. Many people. So we will have, maybe it will take us 2 or 3 sessions. People will come up and give mistaken ideas, and we will beat them one by one. And then finally, after all those guys are done, we go to the middle section, which is usually quite short, where we give the correct one, okay? But in Buddhist system of teaching people, first we make them struggle with what's wrong, what's slightly wrong. And we fix. And by the time we reach the second part, they should be able to write the correct part themselves, because they went through all the possible mistakes, okay? Then what's super cool about Buddhist educational system is the third part, where the other guy gets to come back and attack us. He has the right to come and question us, which is not normal in a university, you know. You're taught what's correct, and you don't question what's correct, and you just keep going, okay? So Buddhist system, listen to a bunch of wrong ideas, correct each one, then create your own definition, which is correct. And then the guys who got complained at in the first section get to come back and attack you. And of course you beat them. Okay, so here we go. Please read 978. Whoa. Okay, now, just at the beginning and not for the whole section, okay? Just at the beginning, think of Chi and Chedak as car and Chevrolet, or car and Toyota, okay? So car is Chi, and Toyota is Chedak, okay? And we're going to get the definition of Chi, and we're going to get the definition of Chedak, which I've never taught you. But he says, Dagmayina, if something is not itself, it must be both, a general and a specific. It must be both. Every set is also a subset of something else. And every subset is a set of something else. Connor, yeah, well, he means everything is both. Okay. Everything in the universe must be one or the other. How's that?
Or both.
Okay. Or both. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. But more than everything in the universe, everything you can imagine, which would also include rabbit horns. Rabbit horns, okay? Don't forget, dogme, the fact that things are not themselves, is true also of things that don't exist. Emptiness is true of things that don't exist also. It's bigger than everything in the universe. Emptiness is bigger than everything in the universe. It includes all the stuff that don't exist. Okay? Like national debts that are solved. Or stuff like that, okay? Things that can't exist. All right, here we go.
You said would it be correct to say then if nothing has a self, then everything is either set or subset?
Anything which is not itself is either a set or a subset. You can say that. Okay? Everything that's not itself, everything that's empty, is either a set or a subset. Okay? You all right? It's awful quiet in here.
So you're trying to interpret the nods.
When my dog eats breakfast, he gets on the couch and he goes like this for like an hour. Sometimes I think he died. Why am I talking about that?
Even if things don't exist, they are either one or the other.
Yeah.
Even if they don't.
That's the other guy. That's the proposal, right? We're in the section of wrong proposals. So the guy says if something is empty, it's either a set or a subset. If something is empty, it's either a set or a subset. Okay, he said. Okay, now we take our counterexample is take rabbit antlers. Please read. Yeah, it's the counterexample, so we have to be sarcastic. Yimbata. Yeah, are you saying? Yeah, translate.
If there's something which is, let's consider the horns of a rabbit.
Yeah,
Antlers of a rabbit.
let's consider the antlers of a rabbit.
If they're either suitable as a quality or a characteristic.
Yeah, right now let's stick with set and subset, just to make it easy.
Set or a subset because there's without any nature of their own.
Yeah, so rabbit horns must either be set or members of a set, you can say. Okay, car or Toyota. Okay, why? Because it's dogme. It has emptiness. Rabbit horns must either be the general category or the member of the category. Why? Because they have emptiness. And you said anything that has emptiness is either a general category or a member of that category. So we say, okay, take rabbit horns. Are you telling me it's either a category or a member of a category? Why? It's empty. It's empty. Now, try to describe to me the members of the category called rabbit horns.
Well,
There's rabbit horns in Sedona. There's rabbit horns in Mexico. There's rabbit horns. There's rabbit horns up your butt. You know, I mean, okay. Kabake. Kabake means, hey, you're the one who said it had to be. You're the one who said, don't cry, it's not that bad. You're the one who said that whether it existed or not, if it had emptiness, it would either be a category or a member of a category. You're the one who said so, okay? Don't blame me. That's Kabake, okay? Dura, now if the guy agrees to what? Say it. Rabbit horns are either a general category or members of a category, okay? That's what the guy said, okay? If you agree, let's take rabbit horns. Yata.
They exist.
You telling me?
yes, they exist.
Are you telling me they exist?
Yeah.
Why? Because they are either a category or members of the category.
Right.
Got it?
Yeah.
Are you okay? Do you have to exist to be not self-existent? No, you don't. Okay. But do you have to exist to be a category or a member of a category? Yes. Okay. Yes. Okay. Good. We're there. You're all with me, kind of. Okay. Makabna, kabayobata. Just because it's a category or a member of a category doesn't mean it has to exist. Okay, I'll say it again. Just because something is a category or a member of a category doesn't mean it has to exist. Ma-kya. Then we say kyabayata. Yes, it does mean that because Chidang 982.
Because if something's a category.
Chidan chedra karu yana yipe kape
Which means if something is either,
a set or subset.
yeah, if something is either a category or a member of a category, it must exist. It must exist. You can't have bags of rabbit horns from different states or something, okay? All right.
It's a legal argument?
Huh?
How do we change it so that this is illegal?
What's illegal?
Oh, we just
I'm
said,
sorry?
you said, uppercut.
I didn't catch it.
How are we saying it differently to make our point?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I see.
Oh,
Argument.
Just because.
no, it is different. Our reason is that if something is a category or a member of a category, it must exist. The reason is that whole thing. No, okay, it's a statement, okay? Then he says, just because, I'm sorry, I disagree that if something is a category or a member of a category, it must exist. He says, I disagree. Madubna, keep going at him, 983.
Majuna chidan chedra karu yina yipe chidan chedra karu yina yipe kappa ta chi yana yipe kappa kan shi chedra yina yipe kappa yeche.
$100, but you gotta say it perfect. You gotta say it perfect. You sure?
You do have to.
Yeah, and you pay me if you don't say it perfect.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, Madhubna, I disagree that if something is a category or a member of a category, it has to exist. I disagree. And you say, if you do
If
disagree,
something is a category or a member of a category, it does have to exist because if something is a category, it has to exist, and if something is
a member
a member, then it has to exist.
of a category has to exist. $100 shopping. Where's shopping? $100 for the gentleman. I'm not gentleman, but the guy. Okay. Yeah. If something is either a category or a member of a category, it must exist because if something is a category, it must exist, and if something is a member of a category, it must exist. Therefore, if it's a category or a member of a category, it must exist. Okay? Got it? You all right? It makes sense. I mean, you can't have like 23 kinds of rabbit horns or something, you know, members of this category. Okay? Okay? All right. Now that very irritating statement.
Party money.
Now that irritating statement. What?
That's the rest of it.
Each part of my reason is
Easy.
cause easy. I don't have to talk more about it. We hate that sentence. Slaw. I always think of coleslaw. Okay, slaw means in Tibetan easy. It means I don't have to explain further. Okay. What's the two parts of his reason? What was the two sides of the concrete? If something is a category, it must exist. Or if something is a member of a category, it must exist. I don't have to go into why. I mean, everybody knows.
I mean, the problematic counterexample would be like, then isn't he sort of implying that a rabbit's horns are a subset of dung? Or not?
Yeah, that's. I'm not going there. Okay.
It's a member.
Now I love this next argument. I think it's really cool. Okay, here we go. What's it mean?
Oh, cool. Something's a cheese.
Yeah. If something is a category, it cannot be
Oh, it can't be.
a member of a category.
Okay.
That's the other guy. If something is a category like cars, it can't be a member of a category.
Or that. It should be of that member of that.
Yeah.
Not that. He didn't say of that.
I know, but it should.
Yeah, no. Okay, that would ruin it.
Yeah.
Okay, got it? I'll say it again. If something is a category like cars, it cannot be itself a member of a bigger category. Okay, like vehicles.
No, it's country.
No, this is the wrong guy. He's always wrong. We're always right. It's just like real life. Okay. 986. Good. Why did Adam go down?
Because it is, we agree and we reverse, sarcastic.
Yeah, we are giving a counterexample. So it's always sarcastic. Oh, I see. Well, let's take things that do something. I guess it can't be a member of anything because it's a general category. Okay, let's take all the things in the universe that do something. I guess they can't be a member of anything. Well, why do you say that? Because they're already a category. Got it? We gave a counterexample. Here we go. Kabake. Hey, just because it's a category doesn't mean it couldn't be a member of the category. Are you crazy? You just said that. Okay, kabake means you just said that. You're the one who started this fight, not me. Okay, so now he has to go the other way and say, I disagree that all the stuff that do anything in the world is a general category. He has to say that. Okay. Then we say, let's take all the stuff in the world that does anything. Keep going. Yeah, good. Yeah, let's take all the stuff in the world that does something. It is too a category because it has its own members. Okay, it is a general category because it has its own members. Okay, well, what's that? Then the other guy says, Tamadu. What? I disagree that.
Members of that club.
Yeah, I disagree that all the stuff in the world that does something has members inside. And then we say, if you don't agree that all the stuff in the world has members inside, that does something has members inside, Madumna, Mopo. Nice. Good. Yeah, all the working stuff in the universe does have its members. Why? Because a cup is a member. Why they choose a cup?
Because it was in the room.
Yeah, they typically choose stuff that's in the room at the moment, which proves they were drinking during the class. Okay, 2,000 years ago. I disagree that glasses are in the category of stuff that does stuff. Okay, he says, I disagree that cups are in the category of stuff that does something. Oh, 990. I'm going to put a comma here, okay? You gotta memorize this line. This 990, okay? Don't forget, 990. Extremely important, okay? Extremely important. This is the definition of Chidart, okay? This is what it is to be a member of a set, okay? It's extremely important, okay? I can't emphasize it enough. Get used to it here because it's the first time it happened. It's going to happen 1,000 more times, okay? What do you mean when you say something is a member of a group? What do you mean? What's the definition of being a member of a group? Well, there's three things that have to be there. Three things have to be there. To say that Toyotas are a member of cars, three things have to be true. Number one, the Toyota must be a car. Okay? Must be a kind of car. Okay? The Toyota has to be a car. That's the first one. Okay? Second one, to be a Toyota is to be a car. Okay? Toyota is a car is different from saying to be a Toyota is to be a car. Okay? Toyotas are cars, A. B, to be a Toyota is to be a car. Okay?
Can you give us an example of that they're different enough that something could be one and not the other?
Yeah, a fish in a car. Okay. To be a fish is not to be a car.
Yeah, but something that could pass test one and not test two.
Oh, Mitapa and Chepa.
So to
You can have equal sets. Yeah.
Oh, equal sets, but not
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, I'm not going to go there. Let's not go there now. Just focus on this. Three qualities. But you got to hear these three, okay? Three things make something a member. Number one, they are whatever the set is. Okay? Toyotas are cars. First, one. Secondly, and a different taste. To be a Toyota is to be a car. And thirdly, there must be other members. Like Chevrolets and Fords and
What about the planet Earth?
Right, and that's your whole thing. 'Cause otherwise-
By the way, that's called Big J argument, which is the Mount Meru argument, but that's another story. Okay, Kyu Mayen Shing, there must be things which are not Chevrolet Toyotas, but which are still cars. And that's what it is to be a member of a set. Yeah. Yeah, so he's throwing out equal sets right now. Okay. And Tuma, there must be many. There must be many other members of the set. So here's the three, then we'll finish, okay? The three requirements to call something a Chedar. Okay, the three requirements to call something a Chedar. A, it must be that general thing. It must be a car. Two, to be it must to be automatically to be a car. And there must be other things that are cars that are not it. There must be other members of the set, or you can't call it a set. And that's a very famous, you gotta remember those three requirements, because you can't step into the debate ground and talk about Chichada if you don't know these three, okay? You'll get killed, okay? It's debate suicide. Okay. Very cool. Yeah, you're going deeper than anyone has gone into this subject. Okay, stop here. 11th or 10th?
But not
It's 11.
I'm sorry, what?
What would be a thing that is yin but not Dangak Chikduja?
Oh, I'm not sure there are.
Right. Okay, good, me neither.
But I would say that it is stated differently, you know. It is a Toyota is a car, and to be a Toyota is to be a car. I don't think they're exactly the same thing, yeah.
There was a time historically, I think, when you described the second one kind of as like a relationship such that if you took away the one, the other would have to go.
That comes later, yeah, that comes later. If you took away cars, do you take away Toyotas? Yeah, that's one of the tests of the second one, yeah. Okay, all right, here we go. Hang in there, okay? It's confusing, it's deep. You will see emptiness directly if you stay with it. If you work with it, you'll see emptiness directly, and that's worth it. You can get out of the wheel of life. You don't have to listen to books anymore. Perki Joshi Medotam Iram Lingshin in the Yampani Yeshindu Nite Uwani Sudoku Namda Singha Jebasho Iram Guru Rana Mandana Kone Yatayami Ikewokun Sanam Yeshen Sotoshin Sanam Yeshen Lechuwe Tampa Kuni Tobasho. Our next transition is going from the frying pan into the fire. We're going to Nick's text. The worst one. We should move yours to the morning.